Hey folks, DJ here, and I'm back with another video as part of my Dream Opponent series. Now today, I'm looking at someone very special. Actually, I wanted to save him for later on in this Dream Opponent series, but I've decided, you know what, I want to do it now because I got more guys I plan on doing, including a tag team. So spoilers ahead. So or hints, okay, anything. So today I'm doing one of my favorite wrestlers and my idol, Bret the Hitman Hart. Why not, okay? What's there to say about Bret Hart? Hall of Famer, second generation superstar, member of one of the greatest families in professional wrestling, the Hart family. Older brother to Owen Hart, one of the most popular Hart family members ever, of course. But that's a story for another day, maybe a future video. Spoilers, maybe. But anyway, so after much thought, I've decided let's do this. Let's think of top 10 dream opponents for this guy. So after a while, I was able to narrow it down to 10 potential guys. All right, so so this is what's going to be a little interesting because you'll never know who I'll pick. But I'll hop to it. So let's get to it. All right. I already did my intro on Bret Hart. Obviously, not much more about him. Let's see. The only other thing you know about him, he's also a Triple Crown champion. He's held the tag team championship with his brother, Jimmy Evil Neidhart, on a couple different occasions. He's also a former Intercontinental champion. He beat Mr. Perfect at SummerSlam. Forget what, I think it was 1991. I don't remember exactly. I know he beat Mr. Perfect, and then he beat Ric Flair in October of 1992 to become WWE champion. So there's a resume. Then of course, obviously the screw job. Of course, blah blah blah. That's a story for another day. But anyway, aside from that, let's boil down to his dream opponents. Okay, and I've said this before in previous videos. This is not a popularity contest. This is on their wrestling ability and how well they can pretty much just tell a story in the ring. Okay, so let's hop to it. Okay. Coming in at number 10 is the Demon Kane, all right? Now, hold on a sec. Let's stop the truck for a sec. Technically, these two did face each other. Yes, that was 20 years ago. Back in 1995, actually, Kane was introduced to the world, but of course, back then he was known as Dr. Isaac Yankem, introduced to the world by Jerry the King Lawler as his demented dentist. Of course, to be perfectly fair, this is, Glenn Jacobs, the man behind Kane, wasn't an established star at the moment. He was just brought in by Jerry Lawler. He had the look, he had it going, but he wasn't really an established name yet until he was repackaged as Kane, the storyline brother of obviously the Undertaker. So there you go. Sorry to ruin everyone's dreams, or of course I don't know. Let's talk about kayfabe in these days. But of course that's a video for another day. But that you can just look up Brian Zane's channel. Shout out to Brian Zane there. But anyway, so let's see. How I see this will pan out is pretty much essentially I've seen Bret Hart face other guys like The Undertaker, even Bam Bam Bigelow. In fact, Bret's even said that Bam Bam was one of the best big men he's ever competed in the ring with. He was able to do something that he's never done with Bam Bam, like pull off moves and make him look good. In a sense, Bam Bam made Hart look good. So in a way, I can kind of see a little bit of that and those kind of elements, along with, I would say, with taken from a Undertaker match that he's had and just put it together, and him and King can possibly have a classic. It probably will not be as good of a classic as a Bam Bam Bigelow match, or a Undertaker match, but that would be something pretty unique and pretty cool to see. Like definitely seeing Bret Hart's ground game, just mixing that with Kane's background, and pretty much there you go. Obviously, like I said, the elements of an Undertaker match would probably work the legs, obviously, because he's a big guy. Think about that. So I could definitely see a classic there, and a match I would definitely pay money to see. Coming at number 9, Alberto Del Rio, or El Patron, depending on which company you're watching. This is more of an interesting one because, let's see, it's a battle of heritage. Think about that. They're both representing two different families. They're both proud of their heritage. Obviously, Bret Hart's Canadian, Del Rio's Spanish or Mexican. And of course, this is interesting. This is kind of interesting. You got Bret Hart is adept in this classic, the Canadian wrestling, and well, adept in American as well. They have Alberto Del Rio, who's adept with the lucha libre style, and also martial arts trained. Think about that. Let's take all of those, put them in a melting pot, and let's see, something special might happen, actually. And of course, what boils down to is the technical game between Del Rio and Hart, and I would love to see that happen. It's essentially is like the cross arm breaker versus the sharpshooter. those are two possibly devastating submission holds I can that in the game, in my opinion. Of course, it's a cross arm breaker. You can dislocate a guy's shoulder with that. The sharpshooter, you can technically could probably tear a guy's those hamstrings or something like that. But that's pretty cool. Cool. Think about that. I would love to see something like that. It's pretty much essentially two guys from two opposite sides of the border. With us, U.S. generation between it. One with their interesting clicks and whatnot. They could bring it all to the table. We could get something amazing, and I would definitely see something like that. Amazing stuff. Totally worth my money. Right. Coming at number 8 is going to be an interesting one, okay? It's P.D. Williams. Now I know what you're thinking. Okay, P.D. Williams, interesting. Okay, yes, he's a Canadian. Obviously, his influence is Bret Hart, because he's a fellow Canadian. But here's an interesting thing. P. Williams was never trained by someone like as Bret Hart. He was trained by Coach Scott D'Amore from, was a jobber wrestler. Sorry to insult you from, back in WWE's heyday. Eventually he would move up to TNA. And of course, say what you want about TNA, but TNA did create stars, okay? That like AJ Styles, like Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, even P.D. Williams. Literally, they just took P. Williams, and over time he matured and grew up and did something amazing with his work. And P. Williams, his style is just also not only is he traditional, he's a high flyer, he's a adept in ground game. He's the total package. And of course, obviously, well, I wouldn't say he's no Lex Luger, but of course he's got a body of an Adonis. I mean, look at him, he's amazing. Take someone as good as P. Williams, and you can put him in a ring against a guy like Bret Hart. So it's kind of I don't know. It's pretty much like a battle of generations. It's like the old generation of Canadians versus the new generation of Canadians, somewhat. Okay, I can see that happening. And of course, come on, this guy. Because think about it, Bret Hart laid the ground for any Canadian wrestler, like Chris Jericho, like P. Williams, or even frickin' Edge. Any of those guys, anybody that came out of Canada, obviously they would have to attribute all their success to Bret Hart. So it's essentially a passing of a torch kind of thing. So definitely well worth it. So pretty much definitely ground game as always. Also, they probably go off and do some little high flying, especially P. Williams, which I kind of give the edge into because hey, he's a multiple time X Division champion. So there's those credentials. But like I said, credentials aside. What it boils down to is presentation, okay? What it's Williams' destroyer against Hart's maybe pile driver and whoever Hart can dig in his bag of tricks. I would love to see something like that happen, all right? Coming at number 7, Chris Jericho. Now, before you sharpen your blades and pitchforks, let me explain this, okay? Technically, Chris Jericho was kind of essentially, trained by Bret Hart, well, kind of. Think about it, though. He was in a camp run by the Harts. He never met them face to face. It's like I mentioned earlier with the P. Williams, it's essentially a passing of the torch, technically. But what Jericho did is he took what he learned at the Hart camp. They learned that whatever summer it was, and then took it and made it better by expanding his horizons by traveling. He traveled to Mexico. He learned how to be a high flyer. He traveled to Japan, where he honed his craft there. He even traveled to Germany, if you know his tale. He learned all these different styles, and it's pretty much like his style. It's like a hybrid, well, just somewhat better than Bret Hart. So pretty much what I'm saying is it's like predecessor versus successor of whatever kind of dungeon-ness training that Bret Hart trained, or whatever that was learned at that camp. But what Jericho did, he took it and perfected it, or built off of it, and that would be a pretty cool thing to see. It's like the ground game style of Bret Hart against this high flying brawler-esque style of Chris Jericho, then throwing the lucha style, because think of that, he's also a high flyer as well. So let's see, the edge I would probably put in the favor of Chris Jericho. Yet Bret Hart's always known to pulling tricks out of a hat or something like that. You know what I mean? So I definitely promising a dream bout if that ever were to happen. Definitely. But what boils down to is definitely their finishing maneuvers. It's the sharpshooter and the line tamer, or the walls of Jericho, depending on what iteration of Jericho you're talking about. But of course, they're both devastating their moves in their own right, or submission holds. Okay, there's so many submission moves. It's pretty much just another technical masterpiece. All right, pretty much enough said. Coming at number 6 is Triple H. All right, now we're getting somewhere. All right, let me point something out here. Okay, when during the time period, like when WWE was going through a change, when the Federation years were turning into the Attitude Era, I noticed that. Let's see. Bret Hart has competed against some of the big names of the Attitude. He's competed against The Undertaker, The Rock, he's Steve Austin, but he's never faced Triple H. Okay, so but you know that. Yeah, he did face The Rock, but of course The Rock was his rookie year technically. So there you go. It was more essentially he was fine tuning these next generation of stars. But except for Triple H, he has never been in the ring face to face with Triple H. But of course, I can kind of see a little bit of heat because it will never happen because, as you know, there's some history between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. Michaels, the whole screw job thing, because let's be honest, okay, this guy was essentially also another guy that was also in on the whole screw job thing back in '97. So I can also see a little bit of a grudge being thrown into this little dream mix, but of course, I would love to see something like that happen. Just have these guys, just two technical ring generals of their day, just locking up and just have a classic match. And of course, who I think would win definitely let's see. Yeah, I just want to see Bret Hart win because here's the thing: if you get, I'm points on out here, Triple H. Say what you want about Triple H, but here's another thing that you know about Triple H. Triple H has known to bury people. Okay, there's a video out there. Look up shout out to whatculture.com. There's a video where he's essentially buried some promising talent, including Randy Orton. He's buried freaking Goldberg. He's buried Kane. There's people that he would not want to lose to. He just it's all about. It's pretty much. I'm not gonna say it's Triple H had a little bit of an ego problem. Okay, but if you want to know more about that whole thing, watch the Reign of Terror on that video on Brian Zane's channel. Shout out to Brian Zane, and definitely look up the video on whatculture.com. I'll shout out to those guys. Okay, so definitely check those out. Okay, so overall, pretty cool dream grudge match right there. So definitely paying my money to see that. Coming in at number 5. Had to include this guy somewhere on my list. Why not then Tyson Kidd? All right. Obviously, come on. He's a last prodigy of Bret Hart. So essentially, it's more like a student versus teacher confrontation. I would love to see something like this happen. Okay, literally, I've seen Tyson Kidd gotten better over the years. And of course, he's kind of resurrect his career. He's had some downers, but I can definitely see him start to rise. But of course, I don't know if you know about this. He's out with a neck injury, so that kind of sucks. But then again, Tyson Kidd still has a promising career ahead of him, okay? So, yeah, I would love to see something like this happen, like a student-teacher competition. It's it's essentially saying, Tyson, give me all you got. What more than you got to the table? You already proven yourself to the world as a tag team wrestler. You come out of your shell a little bit, but there's more. What more can you show me? There you go. Throw all that into a classic student-teacher confrontation. There you go. Let's make it happen. Pretty much, it's just gonna boil down to just a technical game and technical match. No, forget high flying or grappling. Maybe a grappling match, but it's gonna boil down to mat game. That's how I see that match panning out. All right. Coming at number 4, the phenomenal AJ Styles. All right. I couldn't resist. Okay, so why not? It's essentially another battle of old versus new generations, or another generation of superstars. Okay, and AJ's adept at almost everything. He's amazing at what he does. Okay, say what you want about AJ Styles. Mentioned this before. TNA. Say what you want about TNA, but TNA technically has bred some stars for stars of today. Hey, AJ Styles and even P. Williams, Daniels, Joe. The list goes on and on. Okay, and literally, I've watched footage of Styles evolving over the years in his career actually, and it's every time I see him, it's he gets better or just seems to pull something out of his bag of tricks, actually, kind of like Bret Hart would do. So essentially, it's almost like a predecessor for successor match. Okay, it's okay, Bret, here I am, what the classic ring general, and here's AJ Styles, a guy that's pretty much essentially the next Eddie Guerrero, but let's see. Oh, there we go. Let's take what we got. Throw him in a melting pot. Let's make some magic, okay? Not passing the torch kind of match. That would be pretty cool. I would pay money to see that, okay? And pretty much, let's see. But I will say the edge, I would probably definitely put in AJ Styles' favor because he's definitely more of a high flyer than Bret Hart, obviously. But what it boils down to, like Bret Hart will probably end up pulling something out of his bag of tricks, just like AJ Styles, almost like something that they would go to. It's like how they craft the match. Okay, there you go, perfect storytelling right there. Coming in at number 3, Dolph Ziggler. All right, I mentioned this before in the previous videos. Ziggler is phenomenal at what he's done. Okay, he's really become like I say, he's essentially kind of like Shawn Michaels. Kind of. I think you know where I'm going with this. Okay, like every move that he pulls off, everything that he does, he sells it perfectly. Okay, and essentially like Dolph is out there just to kind of steal the show, kind of like Shawn Michaels. So I see where you're going. So it's pretty much essentially another Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels kind of classic confrontation. So yeah, that would be pretty cool. Have something like that, but like have the young guy in Dolph Ziggler taking on a veteran in Bret Hart. But let's see, that would be pretty cool. Hey, how about this? Let's make it an Iron Man challenge and like see how far like you can push Ziggler. Okay, how far can you just bred this guy to be like a bigger star? Because Ziggler is just, his star is just ever glowing. It's like an expanding universe. I can't really say what I'm talking about, but what the heck, you get the point. All right. And of course, coming in at number 2, I mentioned this earlier. A Guerrero, Bret Hart versus A Guerrero. Why not? Now, if AJ Styles was a successor, well, here's Bret Hart versus Guerrero, another interesting encounter because, hey, come on, 2 other influential families of the professional wrestling universe. Come on, the Guerreros of El Paso or Mexico, and depending. You got the Harts from Canada. Think about that. These guys have never. I don't think these families have ever faced each other. That would be pretty cool, just to have these two guys, the pioneers of their time, just duke it out. That would be pretty cool. Like, forget any flashy story. Just have them go to the ring, pull on good match, okay? And Bret Hart was good, putting on a good match. A Guerrero was also being a good entertainer. Like, you've seen the stuff that he's done. So all that, you would get some magic happening there. And also, not to mention, both of them have a tendency to be a dirty villain, actually, because, yeah, believe it or not, yeah, Hart was a villain at one point in his career, in the early days, being the Hart Foundation. So yeah, it's essentially like about, not only is it about 2 guys of their day, it's also about like who can be the dirtiest player. No pun intended to Ric Flair, okay? So there you go. Amazing counter there. But of course, I will say once again, Edge would kind of go Guerrero, or the adapted Lucha Libre style, and the High Flyer. And now, coming in at number 1, the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. Okay, a bunch of people have said this to me. Okay, oh, that would be something worth watching. Okay, I believe at one point in his book he said he always wanted to meet like Kurt Angle or something like that, or even Brock Lesnar, and yeah. Yeah, I bet you didn't know about that, or ever, try to get in the ring with him. So that essentially is like a dream match that probably will never happen because both Hart and Angle are, past their prime. But then again, I could say some bad things about them. But if they were 100% in their top form today, they could put on a pure wrestling match, and that's why this guy deserves to be number 1. Of this dream opponent list it's just have a pure wrestling talent. Pure wrestling match. That's what we want to see. Okay, just all the best moves, all the best selling, great ground game, ability to tell a story in the ring, and I think Kurt Angle and Bret Hart would just tell just a classic in the ring. Right then and there, how far have they come in their careers, and essentially that to me would be Bret's like ultimate dream opponent. All right, so there you go. Those are my 10 opponents for the legendary Hall of Famer. The excellence of execution, the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. So let me know what you think. Okay, so that does it for today. Keep it tuned here for some more awesome videos. All right, take care, folks.